Welcome to Rack of the Week 181. This should be a pretty quick and easy one. As usual, head over to shortstoponpool.com and check out my stuff. The Ghost Aimers continue to sell. You guys are loving the Bridgemate products, and I've got them all in stock, so they're shipping right now if you place your orders. Please hit the like button and consider subscribing, and also you can support me on Patreon or YouTube. I post a blog at least every other day where I'm talking about tips and advice, things that I've learned, previews of videos, polls, progress reports, and so on. So please check that out. Thank you. Let's take a look at this rack. This is from my live stream Friday night. Did really good. I finished, played for 3 hours and had only 8 innings and finished with a BPI of 39. So, and go check that out. I give a little clue as to what I'm doing differently near the end of the video. But there's going to be a new video coming out this week about it as well. It'll be my second video on how to shoot straight. Let's get into this rack, though. This is a high break ball that's close to the rack. And generally right here, what you're trying to do is I'm just shooting below center, very firm, and I kind of want my cue ball to stick right there if I can. If not, hopefully it'll stay down table. In this instance, it didn't stick there and went to the side rail and then spun down. And that can also happen on that shot. Now, the different thing that happened on this break shot, the rack opened really well, but if you take a look at it, I don't have any balls down table. Usually the cue ball goes below the rack. You're often going to have a ball or two down here, and you're going to have something to shoot at. And I don't have that. So that's what kind of creates the situation we get in this rack. I only have 2 shots. The most straightforward shot is just this 3 ball, and I think a lot of people who choose that, maybe people who play 9 ball more often than I do, might choose that. But to me, that just looks like a really daunting shot. If the cue ball was not so close to the rail, if the cue ball was here, but I didn't have this shot, I would probably shoot the 3. Then it becomes a much, much higher percentage shot. But with the cue ball so close to the rail, you either got to elevate your cue in order to stop the cue ball or slow roll it. And it just becomes so difficult. And I prefer keeping my cue ball down table if I can. I'm looking at this 12 ball, and it's a very sharp cut, but I sight it pretty close, and the cue ball's actually close to a carom on the 9. So I figured, gee, if I don't make the cut shot, I might make the carom shot. So I feel like I have 2 chances to make this. But the other thing is there's all these balls in the rack area, so I'm going to be opening those up right off the bat, if I can put down this 12 ball, and it's keeping the cue ball down table. So that's the reason why I'm choosing to cut this 12 ball. You really got to take a careful bead on this. There's no controlling the cue ball, just make the shot. So that's a great result, and pretty much all the balls have taken their positions, and that's what I noticed in this. And this is kind of, I've been talking lately. I've been doing a few racks that aren't conventional, where we have these neat little tight controllable straight pool patterns, and this is a really good example of that. This is what I call a 9-ball rack of straight pool, because with that shot I pushed 3 balls up table. There are no balls low on below 1 diamond, and there's only 3 balls in the rack area, so everything's a perimeter ball. So this is a very non-standard type of straight pool rack. I call it a 9-ball rack. Sometimes straight pool is like 9-ball, and you got to pull out your 9-ball game. Most of my shots in this rack are going to, what I mean is most of my shots in this rack are going to be longer, either a longer distance to the pocket or the cue ball is going to be farther away from the object ball. But there are no trouble balls on the table. Everything's wide open. What do I mean? I've got 1 blocker ball here. Both of these balls go in this pocket. Both of these balls go in this pocket. Well, I've got to shoot the 14 ball. The 5 ball doesn't go. I've got to shoot this 14 first, and then this 5 ball is freed up to go to either pocket. I've got 2 potential break balls. One of these could be a break ball. The 7 ball could be a break ball, and then I've got 2 balls to set up for the 7 ball as a break shot. So there's no issues. It's just clearing the table, and that's kind of what 9-ball is. It's just keep the cue ball in the open and in line for the next ball for an angle to get to the next shot. And that's all you got to do here. So I'm looking at this, and I have 2 options. I can shoot the 14 ball right now, and then go to the up table ball. The nice thing about these up table balls is that you could play the 3 first. The 3 gets you on the 2, and then the 2 gets you on the 13. So the one leads to the other, leads to the other, and then from either, or you could go 3, 13, 2, doesn't matter. And then either of these balls leads naturally to these. And then this one ball, for example, sets you up for the ball in the center of the table. So there's a couple ways to play this. Basically, I'm either going to shoot the 14 or the 9. I need to clear this ball. It's a blocker ball for these balls. And anytime you have a break ball, you want to get rid of any balls that are in the quadrant between that break ball and the pocket. So the table just kind of, after that second shot of the rack, it just, everything is already, the table's already been set. There's really not much to do, but just execute the shots. So I can either shoot the 14 first or the 9. I don't know which is better. I choose the 9 because I want to get rid of the 11, and then getting an angle on the 11, I can go to the 3, shoot these, and then I'm over on these balls. Let's let it play and see how it turns out. I think from standing here, I would prefer to use the 7 ball as a break shot. So when I come back from the up table balls, I want to shoot just one of these balls and get on these so I can clear those and then get back over and use either the 1 or the 6 as a key ball for the 7. But I think I end up committing for one of these, the 4 or the stripe next to it as the break ball. So now I'm going to go take a look at my angle. Here's the shot line to the pocket. You don't want to be on this side. You want to get that cue ball across, because then it's easy to hold the cue ball for either for the 2 or the 13. You don't want your cue ball going this way after you shoot the 3. So make sure I get it up there. So now this is just a 3-ball sequence, nothing to it. And I decide to go 3, 2, 13. I say nothing to it, but I want to get the cue ball. I don't want the cue ball up here. I want it down on this angle, which I achieved. But now I've got a tough shot because I have a very shallow angle. So I've either got to pound it hard to come this way or draw it 2 rails, or I've got to spin it forward, which I choose to do. You got to be careful. It's so easy to rattle this ball when you're using inside spin. So you got to make sure you're aiming for the outside of the pocket. Now the cue ball doesn't come far enough. What I had hoped to was for the cue ball to come over this way so I can just go to the rail and approach these balls. But I don't have that angle. So I don't want to shoot the 13 right now. These are 9-ball shots. Usually we don't want to move the cue ball this much playing straight pool, but this is what the way the rack laid out, so I'm going to do it. I could cut the 13 now and go 2 rails, but I don't like it. I mean, I can come to the center table, but I'm pretty thin on it, and I can't play position for these balls. I'd have to play position for these. So what I'm trying to do right now is shoot the 6 and come back out past this point, so I have a shallower cut shot on the 13, and I kind of sort of accomplish that. But again, that's 9-ball position, isn't it? Usually we're trying to move the cue ball much less far. And I think I was trying to play for the 14, and I hit it too hard, because right now I could shoot the 14, but I'm going to run into the 5, and then what am I going to shoot next? So I could shoot, let me hit pause right here. I don't know I think it's 50-50. I could shoot the 4 ball right now or the stripe and just go to the rail and up here, and then have a shallower angle on 13. That's okay, but now I've got to use the 13 to get to the 1 to set me up for the 5. So if I do that, then the 7 ball becomes my key ball for the stripe as a break shot. Or I've got to play the right angle on it would be the 4. I got to play the right angle on the 4 to bounce off the rail and come all the way back over here for the 7-ball break shot. So I'm losing my key balls for the 7-ball break shot. That's why at this point I decide to use the one of these balls right here as the break shot. I'll use one of the balls in the center table as my pivot ball to get over on there. And then, so I'm using the 7 in that case to come over here and get this angle on the 13. Again, these are shots where the cue ball is traveling a long distance. That's why I call this a 9-ball rack. So I want to come above the side pocket. Now I've got that shallower angle, but darn it, I'm not shallow enough. I mean, sure, you could shoot this and put some left English on it and try and get the cue ball over here to set up for the 1. The 1 sets me up for this 14. But I'm not. I'm a long way away from the 13. It makes it missable if you try to spin that with inside. So I'm going to go ahead and use outside English and come this way. I'm going to have a shot on one of these balls, or if I overamp and come too far, then I'll have a shot on the 14. So that's my thought process. It's not working out the way I wanted, but lots of 9-ball shots, 2-rail position out of the corner. And I do come past center table, but I don't come far enough. I still have the wrong angle, and I'm going to run into the 5. So I really don't have a shot after that. So I can't shoot the 14. So now I've got to shoot the 4-ball and play position across table. The 1-ball sets me up for the 14 ball. And that's what I've been banking on the whole rack. So again, lots of travel on the cue ball, but now I'm in line, and now I should have more of a straight pool end pattern. I'm looking at this. I just want to stun the cue ball off the rail. I need to stay below the shot line of the 14 so I can slide over here and shoot this 5 and go 2 rails around for my break shot. Almost hit that too hard. I just barely have enough angle. So I've got to kind of cheat the pocket and use some right English, some inside English to get the cue ball to move in this direction. And, any angle is going to work, but I kind of want to stay above the 5 so I can go 2 rails around. Just barely hit that, get the cue ball to move far enough away. So very much a 9-ball rack. Sometimes it's going to happen. You've got to be prepared to just pull out that bigger stroke and let that cue ball travel. I had several options, several ways to complete that rack, depending on how far the cue ball traveled in some of those multi-rail shots. But in the end, it worked out, and that's how you shoot a rack when sometimes it looks like a game of 9-ball, not a game of straight pool. Hope you enjoyed that. Oh, we're going to take a look at this shot because I made a short out of this. We'll take a look at the shot after. I ended up with a shallow angle. Didn't quite play that 5-ball right. I came too close in the corner, so I ended up with a shallow angle. I wanted to come this way, so I could have landed up here. What do you do when you have a shallow angle? You can try and muscle up and just slam into the top of the rack, and maybe the cue ball will come up and you get some balls loose. But that's the worst way to go about it. I've talked about this technique before, and I don't think it's worked out that often on a rack of the week. But this one, it works out. What you're trying to do is follow forward and hit the corner ball. The corner ball is going to carry off the ball next to it this way, and the cue ball is going to have more speed and get to the rail. And in this instance, it worked out. That's exactly what you want to try to do. And the reason why is if you try to slam into the rack with that shallow angle, you got a chance of hitting this point and rattling the ball, and then you've just opened the rack for your opponent. And also, even if you do make the ball, you have a really good chance of sticking to the side of the rack and knocking 3 or 4 or 5 balls loose in this direction. And now you're going to have a lot of trouble trying to play safe from there. So that's why this is the better way to go. You're going to make the ball. If you don't get a re-break shot, you're only going to have 1 or 2 balls loose, and you can play safe easily. That's why it's the better choice. And when it does work out, as it does in this case, I've got my re-break shot. So this is a break shot that we might purposely play position for during a rack, and I've got it. Got the perfect angle. Don't want to overamp. The cue ball is going to hit the side of the rack. You want it to move off the rack. Just hit it nice and smooth, knock some balls loose. You know you're going to get balls coming up this way, so you're probably going to have a shot in the side pocket, which is what I have, and so I'm in business and was able to keep the rack going. Again, short and sweet. That's the way those 9-ball racks tend to be because everything's wide open. You're just shooting your shots and keeping the cue ball alive. Hope you like that. Thanks for watching. Remember, if you're going to play straight pool, play it straight. And we'll see you next week on Rack of the Week. Thanks. Bye.